Hello everybody and welcome back once again for today's video of DIY investing. Some of the most profitable coins that I've ever been able to find have always been exchange tokens. Anytime that the holder has incentives for holding the currency, it always seems to make it go up much quicker and faster than a lot of the other altcoins. Binance Coin was a perfect example of this, and so for today's video, we're going to be diving in and taking a look at 3 exchange tokens that I think have a lot of profit potential over the next cycle. If you guys want more awesome content like this, do myself a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. If you guys want more awesome analysis, click the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to get access to my Discord server. With all that being said, let's jump right in the video today. Alright guys, so to start off, let's first take a look at Binance, because Binance is really the biggest exchange token that there is. Now, for you guys that do not understand exchange tokens, really what the big use case for exchange tokens is the fact if you hold them, you get knocked off trading fees, and so you get a little bit of a reduction in trading fees. And there's that little bit of incentive to actually hold it. But really, there's not a significant use case for exchange tokens besides that fact. But with that being said, let's take a look here today at Binance Coin and kind of see where we're at in the cycle. Now, this is one that was very parabolic, and it's actually one that performed very well. When Bitcoin capitulated, this one was doing really well. And even in the bear market, it really didn't have that big of a correction compared to the rest of the market. It was one that you could have put your money in and really held value throughout that cycle really nicely. And so kind of what we're seeing now is we've had a 1, 3, and a 5 impulse up. Now, this 5 wave has just barely broken all-time high, and we kind of are coming back down to retest that. And so based off of this, it's looking a lot more bullish in my opinion. Now, if we broke back within this all-time high mark and we couldn't really hold support there, really the zone that I would be watching would be about right here. If we couldn't hold support in this zone, then that was going to be a lot more bearish, and I would expect that this would start to fall off a little bit. But the fact that we've just broken all-time highs, we have pretty good volume coming in here, it does show that there is a lot of strength in this market. And so we'll watch and see exactly what happens. But really, I sit here and think about this, and for Binance Coin to perform really well in the wake of the bear market, and then on top of that, to actually lead the altcoins with the bull when Bitcoin first started breaking out, it would make sense that as the altcoins would start to go up alongside Bitcoin, that Binance Coin being an altcoin would kind of do the same thing. And so I think this is one of the more bullish coins that you're going to be able to find. I think that it's a good buy in relative perspective compared to where we'll be in the next 3 years, currently valued about $26. I think we might have a little bit more of a retrace, but that should be a very good buying opportunity considering where we are. I think this is a very young cycle, and so I think that there's a lot of good things coming with what CZ and Binance is doing over there. They're actually looking to open an exchange in America. They have their already open exchange, Binance, that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about. And then on top of that, they're actually going to be looking to creating a decentralized exchange. And so they're really leading the forefront of these cryptocurrency exchanges. So I would expect that this is going to perform very well, considering the fact that CZ is one of the best developers in the space. He's been known to really go out and really start developing and really just try and make the best products that he can. In my opinion, I mean, everybody has their own opinions, but I do believe that he's really trying to create a lot of value in the space, and he is. So this is going to perform and reflect that. Now, next, let's go ahead and take a look at Gob Token. This is another one that is really good, early market cycle, a lot earlier than even BNB, but we have had a very strong impulse with nice sustaining volume coming out of these lows that we saw here in January and December. Now, we are back close to that all-time high mark, hitting a little bit of resistance here. Now, what I'm seeing is just really a couple trend lines that I would watch for if I was trading this market. And we're actually selling through my first one that I have drawn here. Now, I was going to make this video update a couple days ago, but I just didn't have quite enough time. And so from that video, I was watching this trend line, but we're actually selling through that. So realistically, I'm going to be watching for this next lower trend line to be hit for a bounce. It looks as if we could have already had a 1, 3, and 5 wave up. And so this is a possibility. I would find that this wave is unlikely considering the fact the 1 wave is so big. I would expect this to be more something along the lines of a 1, a potential top for a 3, retrace back down to this trend before finishing our 5-wave impulse back at all-time high mark, or roughly breaking out of that. So this is kind of what I'm watching out for Hyobi. But the reason why I bring this one up is because the fact that these exchange tokens have incentives for you to hold them, I think that that's going to bode very well in this next alt season and really the next market cycle in general. You get trading fees knocked off, and so that's going to save you a little bit of money. Not only that, but when a cryptocurrency exchange really starts to take off, the token is going to reflect that. Now, these are ones that I think that are good to just buy and kind of hold on to them and forget about. Longer term investments. These are tokens that I'm not necessarily looking to necessarily trade a lot. I would just rather buy and hold and then scale out as my plan advises me so. So this is Hyobi. We are getting close to that all-time high mark. I would expect us to drop off a little bit lower, maybe have a bounce off of this lower trend line before making our case back up to this all-time high mark. But overall, anytime we're below the all-time high mark, I think that that's a very underdeveloped or undervalued sign. Any consolidation under this all-time high mark is really solid for accumulation, because when it does break out of these all-time highs, usually it goes into price discovery really quickly, and so it's important to accumulate while it's really cheap and while nobody's really talking about it. Now, last up, this is going to take us to KuCoin shares. Now, KuCoin is another exchange. This is an exchange that I actually do own a little bit of KuCoin on, and it's one that I've been holding since back in here. So I'm a little bit bag holding. I think I bought right in these lows. So I am bag holding a little bit, but we are back up to close to that break-even point for me. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because it's showing a really solid market cycle. Now, what I like to see, you have the cycle high that goes up here, bubble pops, we start retracing, and then usually you get your first support, and then we bounce off of that level twice, and we get a couple reaction bounces. So we found support here, we bounced up, we found support back at that low again, and then we bounced up one more time before falling. So this is really the typical market cycle. You'll take these 2 stabs at support before making one more final low, and this is the depression phase right here. And so what happens after the depression phase is our first breakout and our first impulse, which is the disbelief phase, where nobody really expects it to continue to go up. And this one's showing a solid market cycle because this disbelief phase has a ton of volume coming in here. Way more volume than even the last cycle high. And so that's always a very good sign when it comes to accumulating altcoins. Now, what I'm seeing right now, and what KuCoin actually reminds me a lot of, is early day Bitcoin. Now, if you guys remember early day Bitcoin, we broke out of those early lows of about $200, even sub $200 levels, and we ended up making an ascending triangle as we accumulated before we broke up, made our next leg up in the cycle, and that was really what started our trend before we rounded out and went all the way into a new cycle. And so I'm really excited about KuCoin because it's showing a lot of the same market structure as early day Bitcoin. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say KuCoin is early day Bitcoin, but the market cycle is very symmetrical, and so I think that it can perform and give you guys a very profitable setup if you look to accumulate this. I mean, let's say we drop down a little bit lower. To the next lower high that we saw here is going to be about 138%, and so I think that that's a really solid target. If we're doing our targets based off of Fibonacci, we'll go from the cycle high down to the low of that, and you're going to be looking at roughly about the same price target, about 130 to 140%. And so this is one of them that I'm going to be watching for. Really, what I see here is it does have a lot of potential, or what looks to be potential of early accumulation. Now, if we sell through this, then I would expect a more sizable drop-off, and it is possible, but it does have really good volume, and the volume is lining up telling me that it's more likely that this thing breaks out. But the longer that we continue to coil in this ascending triangle, the weaker that pattern actually gets. And so just something to keep a note of if you guys are interested in trading this coin. You can find it at KuCoin.com. That's a trading exchange. And then we had Gob Token, another solid one that I think I will be looking to accumulate as well. And then Binance Coin. Really, out of all of them, I think that this one's the safest long-term hold. I think that this one's going to perform the best. It might not give you the best percent return, but I think that it will be the safest coin and really have the least sizable corrections in the short term and long term. So these are my 3 coins that I had for you guys. Wanted to quickly touch up on those and talk about those. Now, before we wrap up this video, I'm actually going to be diving in and taking a look at Bitcoin and giving you guys a quick little update with there. I decided to leave this off to the last of the video because nothing has really changed a whole lot, and so I didn't need a whole lot of time to really dive into this. Now, you guys know my resistance level at 11.5, still trending under that. If we drop it to a 4-hour time frame, not much has changed, like I said. Still seeing lower highs, major descending resistance here, 3 consecutive lower highs, and now what I'm starting to see is a potential descending triangle pattern playing out right here. And so with this descending triangle, this is a bearish continuation pattern, so I would expect it to do something like that, where we would actually sell through this and fall back down to about the $7,600 area. Now, from my last videos, you guys know my targets are 83.50, so about right there, all the way down here to 76, and these are going to be my levels that I'm watching for accumulation. So this is my next step. This is the next step in strategy for my trading plan. I am expecting that leg down to my next 2 targets, so now is going to be a great buying opportunity. When we do come down to these significant lows, I would expect that dip to be bought up really quickly before we start bouncing back up much higher into this cycle. Something that kind of like what we saw back in the early day cycles of 2017 and 2016 was whenever these dips would get brought down to these lower critical support levels, they'd get bought up really quickly. And I've talked about this in some of my updates, and I want you guys to pay attention that that's going to be the case with this as well. So this is probably your last opportunity to really buy cheap Bitcoin before we bounce up and go to that all-time high mark. And so really, guys, pay attention. Don't get too scared out of buying, because this is the prime opportunity to do so. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for the support. I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.